Well, I think the biggest unanswered question is why we weren't able to disable it or corral it or shoot the spy balloon down before it got over Montana, before it got close to the Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana, where we have intercontinental ballistic missiles. And so I think this is a violation of our airspace. It's a violation of our sovereignty. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it was timed to coincide with Secretary of State Anthony Blinken's trip to Beijing. Now, I'm glad he postponed the trip. That was the right call. He should just cancel the trip to leave there, to not let any doubt linger out there. And if they want to come visit us in the future, they can do that, but they need to apologize for this violation of our sovereignty. So we still have unanswered questions that we need answered from the Pentagon. I'm hoping to get into a secure facility no later than Monday to ask those questions in a classified setting, but this is an unacceptable violation of our sovereignty. I don't accept that explanation for no other reason than we apparently were tracking this as it was transiting across the Aleutian Islands, if not from the start when it left mainland China. So we had multiple options as it was transiting near Alaska over water to shoot it down. And then we're talking about very sparsely populated areas in Canada and sparsely populated areas in Montana. So if the Pentagon's telling us they don't have the capability to collect it or shoot it out of the sky, and this wasn't at a super high altitude, they may have an excuse if that was the case. Well, then that's a capability we need to develop rapidly with our over $850 billion Pentagon budget, because I suspect this is not the last time we're going to see a Chinese spy balloon. Well, if you think this was just a civilian weather balloon, then, I have a pangolin at a wet market in Wuhan to sell you. That's just, that's classic Chinese Communist Party propaganda and lies, and no one is taking that seriously right now. Two things. I think it was an intelligence collection asset. I think they were trying to just to maybe test a capability and see how far they could get and what information they could collect, or maybe collect information on our response, right, to see whether we were willing to shoot it down, what capabilities we had. And the second thing is they were trying to embarrass us. They were trying to make us look weak. They were trying to make us look weak as our Secretary of State was going to China. This is the classic CCP playbook. They, of course, embarrassed our diplomats when they first met with them at the beginning of the Biden administration in Alaska. They embarrassed the Deputy Secretary of State when she met with Chinese officials. When Prime Minister Modi in India met with Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping, right prior to the meeting, shifted some forces around to threaten India. So this is what they do. They're looking at the global chessboard. They're doing gray zone warfare, and they're trying to make us look weak and themselves look strong. No, as the story broke last night, I was in transit from D.C. back to Green Bay, so I don't have access to a classified facility right now. I'm hoping to get a brief on Monday when we return. I know Speaker McCarthy has rightly requested a so-called Gang of Eight briefing, kind of with the top leaders in Congress, and I think they'll get that over the weekend. But again, we have questions that we need to have answered. My understanding is it's over Kansas right now, and the initial person who spotted it over Montana was a civilian. I think that kind of forced the Pentagon's hand. So now's the time for complete transparency from the Pentagon. Again, we're not getting sufficient answers right now. I think a lot of the American people are concerned. They don't want this balloon lingering over the United States for the next 5 days as it slowly makes its way to the Atlantic Ocean. That to me is unacceptable. Short term, capture it or shoot it down. Long term, let's recognize who we're dealing with here in the Chinese Communist Party, and let's not fall for the charm offensive that's underway. Really, ever since Xi Jinping reversed his COVID-0 policy, he sent all his diplomats around the world basically to say, hey, China's open for business, no need to worry, we can have a more cooperative relationship now. Well, actions speak louder than words, and the hostile actions of the Chinese Communist Party belie the nice words that they've been saying to our diplomats. So let's not be seduced by the doublespeak coming from the CCP.